Good morning. Sorry, it's 8:02. Happy Wednesday. We're kitchen tabling this morning because the boys are gone. Stephen and Leo are walking, although Stephen left his phone, so we could see him marching in at any time. It's fine. So today we're on Psalm 124 through 126, and I'll kind of tell you why. And that is that when I was looking for another good, this like joy, praise, what is this piece doing? Joy, marvel, praise, reading for this Wednesday, I found Psalm 126 is the one that I wanted to do, but it's kind of short, and I usually don't usually feel like we have to read Psalms all in a row all together because they don't always flow right together, and we don't know exactly where they can, when all they were put together anyway. So it's not like we always have to read them in a line. Obviously we haven't been, but this one, Psalm 126 is pretty short, and so I thought, we could use like a little bit more reading. And I liked the lead up here from Psalm 124. I think you could just read like this whole book. You Psalms divided into books, right? I think this whole one is kind of similar, kind of has a tone to it. So what we're going to read today, 124, 125, 126, are all, it probably says in there, in yours too, a song of ascents. So just like a praise song to God. And they're all pretty short, so it's probably only 20 verses total anyway. Yeah, like close to that. So, so let's start with Psalm 124. Psalm 124. God, the rescuer of the people. A song of ascents of David. Had not the Lord been with us, let Israel say. Had not the Lord been with us when people rose against us, then they would have swallowed us alive, for their fury blazed against us. Then the waters would have engulfed us, the torrent overwhelmed us. Then seething water would have drowned us. Blessed is the Lord who did not leave us to be torn by their teeth. We escaped with our lives like a bird from the fowler's snare. The snare was broken and we escaped. Our help is in the name of the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Stephen and I just read the psalm in our morning. We're reading through the Bible chronologically. I think I've said that before. So the Psalms are kind of like, we're in like Samuel and Chronicles because those overlap some. And so usually every morning right now is like a little Samuel, a little Chronicles that tell the same story, and then like a handful of Psalms that like kind of whatever plan like they go along. So we just like read this one. And it also, there's a version of it that's set to music that I learned for a show one time, and then I don't think it made it into the final show, but every time I hear this psalm, I want to go like, had not the Lord been with us, let Israel say. It was like a operatic. So this psalm reminds me, that was a funny side note. This psalm, I read this and I was like, it's like a Viking like ode, like a like a success song. You know what I'm saying? Like you read this and you just see them. I like see people like standing on tables, like telling the story of what this was like, and praising the Lord with that tone of like victory, kind of just like a pure, honest triumph and joyous victory moment for them. And I love that it's attributed at the very end of the psalm to the name of the Lord. We've talked before about the name of God is the thing that we trust in. That like the name of God is our literal help. That God is so existent, so eternally yes, that just by knowing the name of God, we already know him and know something about him. And so this name of the Lord, the name of Adonai, or actually Yahweh, is so powerful here. So Psalm 125, another psalm of ascents. Those trusting in the Lord are like Mount Zion, unshakable, forever enduring. As mountains surround Jerusalem, the Lord surrounds his people both now and forever. The scepter of the wicked will not prevail in the land allotted to the just, lest the just themselves turn their hands to evil. Do good, Lord, to the good, to those who are upright of heart. But those who turn aside to crooked ways, may the Lord send down with the evildoers peace upon Israel. In this one, I had to look, I looked at the notes about it for that part in the middle. Verse 3, the scepter of the wicked will not prevail in the land allotted to the just. And it's saying that, my notes at least are saying that it's talking about God clearing the way for Israel to move into the land of Canaan, of the Canaanites and the Amorites and all of that those wicked people were not allowed to prevail lest the Israelites be tempted to sin and to turn away from God, which they did anyway. But I thought this was a cool testament to, and we can kind of connect it to God knowing us and knowing how to protect us from ourselves. And I kind of wonder what this means for us today. So obviously there's still, we have the New Testament I thought of the verse in 1 Corinthians that there's no temptation beyond what is common to man, and not tempted beyond what you can bear. I think it's 10:13. But we obviously still experience that temptation, and God does, this isn't just saying like God's preventing us from turning away from him. That's not true, because in verses 5, in verses 4 and 5, it's talking about, it's still our fault if we turn aside. Those who turn aside to crooked ways, may the Lord send down with evildoers. Do good to the good. So we kind of have this relationship with God where he knows us and knows what is best for us and eternally protects us from what isn't good for us. But we still have that free will that is the greatest good for us. So good that the possibility of evil is worth it. And it's still our fault. We still don't get a free pass because God's controlling us or anything like that. And then we have Psalm 126. Really listen to this one with me, read it along with me, and see if you can read this without smiling, because I just can't. Psalm 126, the reversal of Zion's fortunes, a song of ascents. When the Lord restored the captives of Zion, we thought we were dreaming. Then our mouths were filled with laughter, our tongues sang for joy. Then it was said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us. Oh, how happy we were. Restore our captives, Lord, like the dry stream beds of the Negeb. Those who sow in tears will reap with cries of joy. Those who go forth weeping, carrying sacks of seed, will return with cries of joy, carrying their bundled sheaves. This psalm is to me, it's just the peak of looking back at the past in the right way. I feel like we've talked about it. I sometimes get this mixed up with what Stephen and I talk about on Diversion, about how God doesn't want us to be beholden to the past and continually bemoaning the past or congratulating ourselves for the past. But we talked about yesterday, knowing God from the past, there is a right way to use past experiences and to remember past knowledge of God. And it's for this. It's for the joy that comes with remembering who God is to us today. It starts with the story, the retelling of what it was like how happy we were when God restored the captives to Zion, and then ends with verses 5 and 6. It's not just about that. It ends with kind of bringing it to us today, or to themselves today, that those who sow in tears will reap with cries of joy. We're not caught up in the past and losing sight of the present. We're using the past and remembering the past to bring joy to the present and to urge us forward and push us forward towards knowing God better in the future. And I love this also, this in verses 5 and 6 is talking about the seed to the sheaves. Those who go forth weeping, carrying sacks of seed, will return with cries of joy, carrying their bundled sheaves. And I feel like we can look at this as such a good, true metaphor for what our lives in God are like. That we start with seed, and we have to carry a burden. We have to carry it and move forward and do that obedient work of carrying the seed and sowing the seed and hoping. But we know we have assurance of future joy and God's help to make the seed grow and yield. So we have that will return with cries of joy, carrying their bundled sheaves. And it's not just, blank capitalist productivity we have to look forward to. We know that there's going to be yield, and it's going to be joyful, and it's going to be because of God through us. And that is just the most beautiful way to see how we go forth and how we do our work. I kind of thought of that. I was looking through this last night, and I kind of thought of, I had kind of a rough day at work yesterday. It was just a lot to do. And I was like, this is something that I can apply tomorrow, that I'm going to go forth with what I know I have to do, and accept where I am and look forward to the joy that I know will come when God comes alongside me and through me to accomplish what he wants to. So thank you for reading with me this morning. I hope that this psalm made you smile, and I look forward to hearing what your thoughts are.